Kings and Queens. This is Ari with Empower Me with Ari podcast. You guys, we have a special session that we're doing. It is called Couch Talk. And so with Couch Talk, we come together wherein we are able to just be authentic. We're able to be raw with one another. We're able to talk about pretty much anything, and it's just in an informal environment. So today's Couch Talk is about single motherhood, faith, and dating. We must learn to support and encourage all, especially our single mothers, you guys. I know some amazing single mothers that do not allow anything to stop them from pressing forward in their journey. It's not always easy, but it's worth it, especially to be a great example for their children. And today, you guys, we have two amazing women, who are on the show with us, who are mothers. They are boss ladies doing their things, and they are lovers of God. They're lovers of God. You all, they're authentic. So I'm going to just let you guys introduce yourself. We got Miss Niecy, Miss Shaunice, Miss Rita on here today. I'm gonna let y'all go ahead and introduce yourself. Tell the people a little bit more about you. What's your story and where are you from?
Yes. Well, you want me to go first?
Go ahead.
My name is Rita. I have two girls, a 9-year-old and a 12-year-old. My 12-year-old she's been 12 for 2 days now.
Oh.
So I've been living in Arizona for 21 years now. I'm originally from Minnesota. So it's just me and my two girls, and we've been trucking it. I had Rihanna when I was 21, so I've been a mom since I was 21. I am 33 now, and it's been a good journey.
Love it, love it, love it. What about you, Miss Niecy?
Hello, everyone. I'm Shaunice. I am a mommy to two beautiful kids. I have a 10-year-old and a 4-year-old. I am originally from California, and unfortunately have been in Arizona, and it's now for about 6 years now, maybe a little more. I had my 10-year-old when I was 19. So honestly, being a single mom has helped me grow in so many ways. Yeah.
Love it. Love it. Yes. So, truly, you hear about it a lot, but it's the truth. You hear that single mothers are super women because you all balance everything on a daily basis, I'll look at it, with me, I don't have any kids yet. And so I look at it and I'm like, at times, barely able to handle what I'm doing by myself. I'm like, Lord Jesus, I forgot to eat. So just imagine, you know what I mean, if I had other kids and stuff, I had to balance all of this stuff. You guys, go ahead. Tell us, how do y'all balance it all on a daily basis?
Well, how I balance it all is really in this whole thing, I'm definitely gonna talk about God a lot because I have definitely tried this on my own, and I've tried it with being under the will of God, like listening to Him, being obedient and things like that. And I'm just gonna tell you, listening to God was the better choice and doing it this way. So I can give y'all point of views from both ends, but definitely making the choice to just live every day on purpose. Just to, I wake up and then I have a purpose and not just getting up because just getting up and just doing whatever, honestly, it's not going to be a lot of balance. You go miss out on time with yourself, time with your kids. It's going to be last minute stuff, procrastination. So it's just making the decision that this is my life. I'm accepting it. I'm going to live each day on purpose, taking time out for myself. I have apps on my phone for reminders because I don't know what happened to my memory, but I do forget a lot. I forget to do a lot of stuff. I do. So I do have task reminders on my phone. I just added school, me going back to school on my
Love
plate,
it.
with also adding something new, being a PTL. Some people are PTL, PTA mom. And so having to task the school stuff as well. So it's just God, listening to him, because God literally like can plan your whole day if you listen to him. Like he literally tell you this, or if you go and do something else, like no, don't do that. You don't have time for that. It's not, that ain't, you ain't not. Just sit down somewhere. So, and then also paying attention to my kids and feeding off what they need, or what they're wanting from me. So it's definitely living each day as it comes. Tomorrow definitely will worry about itself, so make sure you're living in the now and in the moment, but have a schedule, and consistency for your kids is important.
That's dope. That's dope. Even hearing you talk about the app. I know you're a single mother, but I may need to get some information for that
Yeah.
for that app for myself, so it can tell me eat, drink water, stuff like that.
I get the reminders on my phone right now. Here's one that's right here.
I love it.
It tells me to write. It told me to write.
I love it. Yeah, you're gonna have to share that information with me on outside of the podcast. I love it. What about you, Queen Niecy? How do you balance it all on a daily, on the daily?
Oh God, balance. Jesus, what is balance? No. Honestly, like, to kind of piggyback what Rita, talks about, it's just waking up with a purpose, knowing, you have some goals that you have to accomplish that day. And for me, I like to make realistic goals, because we could all say, oh, I'm gonna get up, I'm gonna do this, that, and the third. But honestly, is that really realistic for what your day is about to look like? I mean, it's setting aside time, not only for the kids but yourself, because to me, honestly, that is so important. I mean, like I said, if you wake up, with purpose and positive about how your day is going to be, that's where you find your balance. Because again, it's not always going to go as planned, and when you have more than one kid, it's hard. It gets real difficult. So I think just making realistic goals, for the day.
Yeah. That's absolutely amazing. I love how you just mentioned that in life, some things don't go always as we plan. You see what I'm saying? I think that is, if we just took a moment and pondered that and said, okay, I have to accept this. Some things don't always go as planned, and that's okay, because the Bible talks about that. God says all things work together for our good. So even if something's out of whack, or you get a flat tire, or you forget to set your alarm and you're late, the kids late, everybody late, at the end of the day, our perspectives will help us still have a good day. You can say, look, this happened, but I'm still going to be at peace. Call, let the bosses know I'm going to be late, whatever you have to do. So I love how you mentioned that, because I think like we need to really embrace that. And it's not embracing saying it's always going to be that way, but at times, something's going to drop. So that's really cool. And then especially, I just want to kind of mention this. So when you talk about things not always going as planned, I'm sure both of you didn't think that you would be raising the kids by yourself. You know what I mean? As far as without their fathers. So I just want you guys, this is kind of, a little out of the order of things, but since we're talking about this, I want you guys to just kind of share, when that moment happened, how did you come at peace and say, I have to keep moving forward? Like, how did you come like to grips and say, this has happened, okay, it's no longer working with me and this other person, I got to move forward for my kids? Like, how did it happen? How did you find that moment? Look, we being real. Listen, you guys, this is so funny and good. I'm trying to tell you, if you guys check out the video, you see it. But if you only hear audio, oh my goodness, listen, Miss Rita was up swinging her arms fighting. But look, you gotta be real. You have to be real.
Punch in the air. A lot of punch. Listen.
Yeah.
Okay. So like she said, everything doesn't work out as planned, and how I came to grips with it was just, first of all, I have a good support system. I call my village, the same the African proverb that it takes a village to raise a child.
Yeah.
And I have a good village. So they were definitely all, around me and supporting me, where for a lot of times I don't really feel the lack.
Okay.
I don't really feel that. And then there's a lot of times where I do. And so just really forgiving yourself and just putting because ultimately I'm big on taking accountability, and I teach my kids on accountability and just like no excuses. So I know the position that, that I put myself in. I know, that I wasn't in the will of God in the making, and I was just going. So I knew that there's consequences to your action. And I want to say this, that whoever people out there that's listening, everyone might not be Christian or follow God's principles, or you might be, and you might have a different view. But definitely, if you're not married, know who you're sleeping with, know who you're laying down with, know who you're about to make a baby with, and I know, because I've done this twice. I said I have two. And so it's literally every day. Like sometimes I'll just be good with it. Like, okay, no, and this is still up to now where I'm good with it. And there's days where I can feel it, where if I feel like a lack in something, and I'm like, and then I get angry, then I talk to God. And so to me and I would not say general, but in my head, in my view, there's really not a way, because it's just here or there. It's like overall, I have come to terms, I've prayed, I have my support system. I feel God's love, I'm listening to him. But then there's still days where I'm like, and to myself, and I don't talk to, I never talk negative to my kids about their father ever. Right. Like never. I've never said that. I've always pray for him, pray, blah, blah, blah. So I just internalize it, or I go somewhere and I scream and punch the air. When I'm seriously, I really punching the air and kicking.
Do what you have to do.
Scream, sitting in the car, hitting the steering wheel. And then there's weeks, months where I'm just good. Like, I don't even notice. Right. It is what it is. I know that ultimately that it's not going to always be this way.
Right.
And that, the end goal is good. God wants good for us when he sees us, and he knows the plans for our lives. So that's what I focus on.
That's beautiful. That is beautiful.
Yeah, that's good.
Yes. The part, I will just kind of interject. Oh my goodness. This right here could be a whole nother show. Know who you sleeping with. Oh my gosh. I'm trying to tell you, because at the end of any day, when you first meet somebody, like you guys may have heard previously, you meet their representative. You really don't know everything about that person, only what they're showing you.
You're right.
And so it's like, my God, that's why it's just like, we're not perfect people. We're not perfect people by one least bit, with God, that's where our perfection comes. But we're, we live and we learn. And so with that said, it's like, really understanding, okay, I've been here, but now I'm going to make different decisions to move forward, because that didn't work. That did not work. And I think that when it comes to dating, oh my gosh, we have to learn how to be more patient. And I'm talking about myself as well, honey bunny.
Yeah.
I'm talking about myself as well. You see somebody, you see something you like on the outside, you like, okay, they look like they really have it all together. People can look like they have it all together, but on the inside be a monster. On the inside have stuff messed up. Or it could be, you know, in some of my cases, I'm not going to lie, I had some damage that kind of pushed people away and cause a lot of breakups in my life. But I just wanted to kind of pull that out because that's powerful. We're gonna have y'all back, and we're gonna talk about know who you're sleeping with, and we're gonna dig into that thing about soul ties. We're gonna dig into that thing about the list. We're gonna dig into that thing about so much stuff, and we're gonna get raw with it, because there's something greater than just sexually transmitted diseases. You can have spiritually transmitted diseases, you know, in your soulish realm, things just running around. You like, God, where did that come from? So soul ties are real. But I just want to kind of just interject and throw that in there, because that's we need to hear it. We need the real on that. We definitely do. So so Nisi, did you want to share anything about that, or did you want to share anything about the support system? Rita, I heard you mention about the support system. Nisi, you want to share about how important it is to have the support system and, you know, just that process?
Yeah, I mean, my grandma always says, you know who you're having a baby by, because you don't know. I mean, it could, like you said, it could be a completely different person, and with that comes like a lot of generational curses. So then that stuff you got to start rebuking off of these kids, because it's like, this is not the child that I birthed. And so I mean, that, like you said, that's a whole nother conversation. But as far as the support system, it is so important. And I mean, there's been times, like, for me as a single parent, like, you literally feel like you have no one in your corner. And so, and I'm serious, like, even though you have your friends, you have your family, there are times like you feel alone. So to have, you know, someone you trust, to have people you could talk to, people that you can confide in, it's so important, because as single parents, like, it's hard for us to be like, you know what, I need help. Or it's hard for us to say yes to, you know, when you're being offered that help. It's because, honestly, and I don't know, maybe I'm just speaking for myself, but we have a lot of pride because we're used to doing this on our own.
Yeah,
so
that's true.
I think it's important to have that support system, whether it be family, a friend, a counselor, a therapist, a hotline, somebody to talk to. It's so important, because, like I said, there's times that even with family right here, you know, in the same house as me, or in, you know, around the corner, I still feel like there's no one in my corner. So it's so important to have someone you could, you know, trust. And they might tell you stuff that you don't agree with or don't, you know, want to hear, but a lot of times it is the truth. And they'll be offering you the help that you need, and it's so easy for us to say, you know what, I got this, I'm good. And that's speaking from experience, because I'll be the first one to say, no, I got it. And deep down inside, like, I'm like Rita hitting the steering wheel, like, Lord, what is going on? So it's important. So find somebody, you know, make sure you have a support system. Because the kids, they're gonna see it all, and they feel it, and they know.
That is so good. Oh my goodness, Lisa. You guys are dropping jewels. I know you guys are helping so many people. You're going to help so many people when they listen to this, because this is real. This really is real when you hear two powerful women, you know, are vulnerable enough to talk about, mention pride, you know, and say, you know, you have to learn to accept the help when you need it as a single mother, even though some people may say, okay, well, as a single mother, you should maybe open to it, but still that pride could be there, you know, and could prevent you from getting the help that you need. So I love how real you all are being. It's amazing. And then when you just mentioned, Nisi, about the kids seeing everything, them saying it because they're there, you know? So with that said, how can a single mother be that example the kids need to see, you know, especially when the father figure is not there? Like, you know, when they've seen the relationship change, maybe the father was there, but he's not there anymore. It's like, what are some things that, you know, that you do or have done to be that example for them, you know?
Well, for me, like I mentioned earlier, you know, it's so easy for us to try to cover up a lot of things, but it's better to, like, as a parent, it's, excuse me, sometimes it's easier not to make the obvious, you know, like not to show what's really going on. So a lot of times we want to hide everything, but being able to acknowledge some things, because the kids know and they express themselves in different ways. They might not come up to you and say it, you know, right out, but I mean, they know exactly what's going on. So for me, I try to, like, since dad is not here, I try to, like, make sure I tell them about being independent and knowing their self-value, knowing their self-worth, because at the end of the day, when they see a single mom or even sometimes single fathers doing it alone, later on they're going to start looking to fill them voids. And so I just try to, like, keep it positive. And like Rita mentioned earlier, I always speak positive of the father, because later on they could come back and say, well, mommy said this about you. And you know what I mean?
Right.
And listen, we're not about to have that.
I love it. That's so real.
Yeah. So I mean, it's hard. Like, it sounds a lot easier, you know, than it really is. But just trying to, like, stay positive, and again, just tell them, you know, it's important to be independent and not always have to depend on someone, because we're not always going to be around.
That's good. What about you? You have anything to add?
Yes, it takes a lot, honestly, it takes a lot of maturity, growth, and time. I definitely tell them to pray for their dad, and sometimes I'll start off the prayer and I'll let them hear me praying for him, because sometimes when I tell them, like, it'd be complete silence after I'm like, we do our car rides on the way to school with prayer. And so I'll say the Lord's Prayer, then I'll tell them to say their personal prayer, whatever they want on their heart. And then if I feel like something is, you know, or then I'm like, okay, so we're going to pray for, and it's crickets. And then I'll look in the rear view mirror, and they just, you know, looking out the window, and then I'll just, you know, reiterate, you know, just importance. Like, I let them know, as I said, I don't like excuses, or I'm take accountability. So I'm not about to make excuses for nobody else. But what I do tell them is, you know, however a person acts, that has nothing to do with you. That's between them and God. You know, whether their person is good to you or whether they're bad to you, that's based on their own character. That speaks to their character. So all you can do is pray for them, and whatever journey or whatever they're going through, you know, they're doing that with God. And I know what I have to do better on, what I feel I should do better on is, I never, like, bring up the their period, positive or bad. I just don't talk about them. And you know, I know that I, more than just in prayer, when I'm telling the prayer for you, just to bring him up and, you know, and be like, you know, if you guys have any questions or, you know, or whatever, do you guys want to talk about it? I don't bring them up. And so I know that's something that I probably should work on, that I'm praying on, that I don't know. Because with this motherhood thing, you don't know everything. You live in day by day. You go make mistakes. You're going to do some things right, trial and error. And you just have to know that that's okay. That's a big thing with showing your kids, to be an example as what a role model is. There's trial and error, and it's okay. You're going to make mistakes, and it's okay. you just gotta see what works for you. So yeah, me just telling them to pray.
Right, right.
Right, talk to God. That's between it. Don't have nothing to do with you guys, you know, and just so yeah. And then they talk to their grandparents, my parents, about it as well. So they don't have there's not a you know, I'm trying to think, not a jaded view, but like a point of view, a mutual point of view, you know. So yeah, so.
Absolutely. No, that's really good. You guys are dropping some absolute jewels. And so listening to you both and, you know, knowing you guys are amazing, but not really knowing the exact story of what you guys went through. You don't have to go into all details, but the main part that I want to ask you is, how did you guys heal from it? And I know you were talking about how you deal when things, Queen Rita, I know you were talking about when things don't go your way and you have to like kind of punch the air, do this and that. But when the separation and stuff happen, I understand it's a process. You know, healing is a process. God can heal you from things overnight, but then there's still a process with it. And so how have you two ladies been personally going through that healing process? Because I will say this, I understand when I get in relationships or if I'm dating someone and there's a breakup, oh, I'm hurt. There's something in there that's hurt. And I don't forget the person the next day. Absolutely not. There's a process. And I still, of course, from time to time may think about that person. But I know how my healing process, as far as what I needed to do, it may look different from what you all needed to do. That y'all have to like, if you were follow them on social media or whatever, did you have to stop following them? Or like, what did you have to do to like, really, like, you could mention like one or two things. What did you have to do to start that healing process?
Oh, go ahead.
No, go ahead. I was just gonna say, can you hear me better?
Yeah, we can. Yeah, it's good. You're good.
One thing I had to do was release. So you heard me say or punch in the air and stuff like that.
Right.
At first, I was not doing that. I was holding everything in, putting on a face, you know, being strong and like, oh, you know, whatever, I don't care. And I never even really cried about it in the beginning, for some odd reason. I held it all in, and I was just like, this is the cards I was dealt, kind of thing. But internalizing it was not good. I do not recommend that to anyone. Okay, a public announcement. If there's anything that you hear from me, hear this. I do not recommend internalizing and keeping things inside and not releasing it, because it literally eats you from the inside out. So I had to just release or let go and be honest with how I feel. It's okay, you guys, to be honest. It's okay to, you know, feel bad about it. It's okay to be hurt. It's okay to, you know, whatever you feeling, whatever the first natural feeling comes to you, it's okay. So I had to be honest with my feelings and where I was at, and, you know, and what I was dealing with, and just released and cried. I cried and I cried and I cried. And this is like years. This maybe was like, my oldest is 12. This maybe was like 5 years ago. Okay. Where I really just released and it was honest and came terms with, you know, with what, with where I was at, you know. And so that's the biggest thing is I released it. I was honest. You know, I came to God, because let me tell you about this, and then you can go and you see one thing why I didn't release is, as I stated earlier, because I knew my beliefs, I knew my faith, and that I did not, you know, that I had a child or children out of wedlock, and so I kind of felt like I did this to myself. So I'm not about to go to God about it or whatever. Like, I got to figure this out since I did this. You know, I was condemning myself, you know, instead of having a healthy conviction, which will help you with not making the same mistakes over. When you condemn yourself, you can just be in the same cycle because it's, you know, it's not healthy. It's not good for you. So I was condemning myself and not really bringing forth, trying to act like since I did this, I'm going to, you know, carry the load. So just really releasing, being honest, and just forgiving yourself was my biggest thing.
Wow. That's powerful. I want to say something real quick. That is really good. That's powerful. I want to say something really quick. If, my God, it would set so many people free if we would break that religiosity spirit, the spirit of religion that really is trying to keep people bound and literally trying to beat a hammer over somebody's head if they get pregnant and they're not married. Truth be told, we understand the miraculous, you know, inception story, or the miraculous story about Joseph and Mary, but truth be told, God allowed Mary to have that baby before they actually even had got married. You know what I'm saying? And I'm not saying that to say everybody just go have kids and be married. I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is that so many times we want to judge people. And this is why God always does things out of the box. He always does things so that people can't say, well, it was me. It was my perfection that caused me to get these millions of dollars. It was my good looks that caused me to get this basketball playing husband. No, he liked to use, you know, things that people would be like, what in the world? God used that person to blow people's minds. And so I know that is a huge reason as to why God used, you know, Joseph and Mary or whatever. The Joseph and allowing her to be pregnant, and he didn't impregnate her. So, yeah, so Nisa, you can go ahead and share what you wanted to. Did you have anything else that you wanted to add to that?
Yeah, no, I absolutely agree with Rita. Excuse me. It is, you do internalize a lot of that because you almost feel guilty, like, how did things go wrong? Because you envision things to be one way, and a lot of times it turns out to be another. For me personally, you have to learn to go through it and not around it.
That's good.
Sometimes it's a lot of that guilt. So it's, you gotta, you know, put your big girl panties on and just, you know, go through it.
That's good.
Like, for me, the most difficult thing was trying to, like, stand still and receive that healing from God, because I needed to be healed. I needed to be freed. I needed to find my strength, know my strength. And honestly, I remember driving home one day and literally crying out to God, not necessarily because at that point, I guess I could say I felt healed, or I thought I was healed. And it was years ago, not years, but a few years ago. But it was literally me driving home on the freeway, crying out to God for the other person's emotional healing, because I knew what I went through when, you know, we separated or whatever. But I'm talking about the ugly Kim K cry. The ugly cry. I'm so serious. Like,
yes.
Don't even know how I'm driving the car because I am a complete mess.
Wow.
That's the type of cry. That's the type of healing that I felt, because I knew that I could cry out to God on behalf of that other person to be emotionally healed. So that's when I knew, like, I felt the freedom. I felt the release. I felt like, you know, this is no longer something that's gonna, you know, that I'm gonna suffer from, because I knew at that moment God had, you know, healed me. And it wasn't easy. It took time. And like Rita said, like, it wasn't that long ago that that happened. So I mean, it's real.
Yeah.
It's real, and it's not easy. And there's still some days that we may still think like woulda, coulda, shoulda, but I just know that I've been freed and that, God has definitely healed me from all that, past damage and hurt and pain and what have you. Like, it's done.
That is so good. That is so good. There is definitely healing in our release. There's healing in our release, and these two ladies are testament of that. You guys, this is helping. I'm sure it's going to help everybody, but it's helping me just from listening to you guys and how you guys are yet standing, even though going through something like that. You see what I'm saying? And so, you kind of mentioned it a little bit earlier, Niece, when we were talking about support systems. I just kind of wanted to just, speak about this part. Do you guys think that therapy is good for self as well as for the kids? Especially when it comes to something like this. Family was together, now broken up. Now you guys are raising them by themselves. Of course, some kids may start to act out, when it's just you. At times the father could have been more of the authoritative figure, and sometimes it's just the story changes depending on the situation. So what do you guys think about therapy, going to therapy? Are you pro therapy? Are you for it, or how are your feelings on it?
I mean, I'm all for therapy, because I remember when my parents got a divorce, and here I am, 12 or 13, with a single parent, and I remember almost feeling like rebellious, because I'm like, at that age, you don't really understand. You come from, you're seeing, their parents together, and I just wish, not wish, but, things obviously could have been different, but I mean, at that age, I know I could have probably used some therapy, but, it didn't happen. So now with my child, and I'll personally say that, yes, she is in therapy, because that could be traumatic for them. And so I am, oh, Jesus, I am so for it, because it's so important for them to be able to express things differently, because, Jesus.
Go ahead.
They're not always able to say, this is how I feel. This is what's going on. Why did this happen? Why did that happen? Right. So, Jesus, being able to have the option for them is so important, because they have another outlet other than that only parent, that they live with. I said I wasn't going fast.
See, and you know what? It's okay, because this is what it's all about. Being so authentic, being so open that we can be emotional in this safe space. This is a safe space for us to be real, because it is about healing. It's about sharing the story so that other people can be helped. So thank you, Queen, for being so authentic.
Yeah.
Much appreciated.
Yeah.
It wasn't the ugly Kim K crash.
You were so funny.
Oh gosh.
Yeah, I agree. I personally, definitely have been through different stuff from YouTube, but I am pro therapy as well. I'm forward. I am for therapy. Definitely for therapy, because I believe there's certain things that we may not know how to figure it out. You see what I'm saying? And a lot of times people may not be comfortable to go to their pastor. They may not be comfortable to go to somebody that they know. But when you can go to a therapist, a neutral party, where you like, I'm just going to go to this stranger that is certified. Lord, lead me, guide me. Of course, pray, Lord, where should I go? If he leads you to the specific therapist, a person, that you can get your healing, you can get your breakthrough. And I know it's helped me tremendously, because I went through sexual abuse at a young age, as a little girl, and held that in for years, over 20 years. And then I finally told my parents what happened. So just imagine, the things that came out, because I was hiding so much on the inside. So therapy, so God helped me, you know, praying and seeking him, and of course going to church, stuff like that, but also having therapy to couple that with literally helped me within my deliverance process. And I, like I mentioned on previous videos, I honestly believe, like, such as people go to doctors for annuals, physicals and stuff, you know, once a year, dentist twice a year for your cleanup, your clean and stuff like that. I think, hey, why not go do a therapy session once a year, even if you don't think anything is wrong? Just go and talk to somebody just to make sure that mentally you're where you're supposed to be, because I think that that part is the biggest part that's overlooked. We can fix all of this on the outside. We can be decked out, hair looking good, the best outfit. People like, dang, I want to be her. But at the end of the day, all broken up on the inside, and no one knows, because on the outside you can't tell. But being able to go to a therapist to heal that, so that inside and outside is matching, is so dope. So I think that is wonderful. It's it removes the element of being selfish, you know, and saying, hey, I may not have all the answers, or you may not want to talk to me. I know I'm your mother, but I'll go ahead and allow you to talk to somebody else, a professional that can ultimately attempt to help you as well, be that listening ear. So that's dope.
Right. Because you don't want to be one-minded, and you don't want to give them advice out of emotion. A lot of times that can
advice out of emotion, that spoke volumes. Did you want to eat? We're gonna talk about that on another segment as well. Just moving out of emotions. My God, that could cause when you do stuff just out of emotions. Did you have anything you want to share, Queen Ree, when it comes to that? Or if not, we can just move forward.
I don't know. I just agree. I'm all for therapy. I'm actually in school right now. You know, working on my psychology program to become a therapist. So
love it.
I'm for it. I'm all for it too. I wanted to even implement a therapist in churches. So so I'm working on it. So I'm off of that. Yes, they always need someone else to talk to, you know, someone else that understand them from a different point, an educated view, like you said, not just your parent being emotional and just saying whatever sounds good to them at the moment, and not really hearing how the child is crying out or what the child is saying, you know. So I agree.
Love it. Absolutely love it. So we're gonna move on, you guys. Let's kind of talk about, we kind of talked about it, Rita, you was talking about at the beginning about having God as a source and stuff like that. I want to talk about faith. We're going to transition to faith and delve a bit deeper on that. Faith is imperative for any relationship or any person. Having said this, how important is faith in you all's lives, and how can you teach your children to keep having faith even though they may have seen things in their lives that were contrary at times to positivity?
Faith is super important to me. As I stated, I have tried it without, with just, trying to work my way out without consulting God, without praying about it, without fasting, with just going through the motions and just, doing it. And then I have done it, with all those things that I stated that I didn't do. Faith is important because I have been to points where I gave up hope. Where I was like, this is not going to get better. This is what I just accepting where I'm at. And that is when I gave up hope, and when I said I'm just going to accept this hit and dungeon, that's when God pretty much stripped me from everything.
My God.
So where I had to depend on him, where I was in a point of where, okay, I have to go to God. I have to. So it was like, and I say strip me, but it was like a blank canvas. Like he was telling me, no, we're starting over. Wow. You get to start. You get to restart. You get to pressing the restart button. It's a blank canvas. And we go paint this canvas together. You know,
Mm-hmm.
this time we go do this together. So,
Mm-hmm.
I believe when you lost hope, I believe that's rock bottom. Because when I say lost
Wow.
hope, I mean like
Wow.
I just didn't believe nothing. I didn't want to hear nothing. I'm like, this is terrible. I'm in a pit. I'm in a horrible space. This is all that is for me. I didn't believe, you know, I was just,
Mm.
so that's when yeah, and that's when God really worked with me and just have been showing me different things and just listening to him,
Mm.
and um God will never stop speaking to you. He said he's always there for you. You know, he'll never leave us nor forsake us. It's just that we allow distractions to shut him out,
Yeah.
to dull our ears where we can't even hear him talking or we can't even hear him speaking. And we have came into the practice of ignoring him so much
Mm.
that it's just automatic, you know.
Yeah.
So when he's
Yeah.
definitely stripped me and just stripped everything, the canvas was blank. I heard so clear. It's
Oh
just so
my.
it's such been a crystal clear, liberating, you know, freedom walk with him since my canvas has been stripped blank. So faith is important. I don't have no other. If I was to write a book on how to, you know, do this thing right, God, that's all I got for you. I ain't got nothing else. I ain't met nobody that got nothing else. So they told you it's
Oh,
something else. I'm gonna tell you right now.
I love it. I absolutely love it. Yes, about that that blank canvas. After you
Mm,
lost hope, he was like,
yeah.
listen. Because at the end of any day, we have to understand that we are not defined by our past. You know, our
Mm-hmm.
past refine us. They refine our characters and they help
Right.
us so that we can push forward and fulfill the purposes that God has for us. So when we lose hope based off of a situation, we're pretty much saying, God, I don't believe, like, I don't believe you. I don't believe that you can take my life from this place where I've been to where I need to be, this greater place. But that's powerful because you said, God said, no, press restart. And I believe, Rita, that may be the name of something for you called Press Restart, where you
Mm,
can go forth and minister to single mothers or
yeah.
whatever it is that God have for you, and tell them
Yeah.
about this. You know, let's wipe the slate clean. And I want to mention this too. This is so powerful. Yesterday at service, minister was talking about that. He was talking about children of Israel being in Egypt and Moses being chosen to bring them out of Egypt, out of
Mm-hmm.
bondage. And he said that it was generations of generations of generations that did not believe, you know, that they could have anything more because they really didn't see anything more than that. They were so used to being let down. They were so used to hurt. They were so used to the slave food that they didn't even want to try anything else to even think to come out of it. But
Mm-hmm.
God, you know, had said, the time is now. He has sent a word to let them know the time is now. The time is now. You don't have to, when God says the time is now,
The
is
time.
not based on, it ain't based
Yeah.
on how many times things didn't work in the past.
Right.
When God says the time is now, that means that he has something greater that's going to work for your life now and for the future. So I'm telling you, when you said
Yeah.
that, that was confirmation about what we heard at service. And, you
Wow.
know,
Mhm.
my
Wow.
God, you better run with that. Press replay.
Wow.
Listen, it's already trademarked, you guys. Don't
Right.
even come out and take nothing, all right? We rebuke that in Jesus' name.
We were. Let me write this down.
Yes, yes.
You know what?
Mm,
That is so funny.
yeah.
It is. It is. So you guys, what we'll talk about, let's kind of transition into this next thing.
Mhm.
Let's talk about major goals that you guys are working on. I heard bits and pieces of one of you guys mentioned about what you had going on. What's a major goal that you're currently working on to keep that positive role model for your children? You guys, excuse me, if you go ahead and tell us what's something that you guys are working on, and then also what's one important thing that you think children should know in single parent homes.
Mhm.
Okay, I was going. Rita was like, I am currently, listen, I'm at this point, I just consider myself a professional student. I know me and Erica joke about
right here, right?
Girl, a professional student, okay?
Professional.
And it don't make no sense.
Girl, but, I should have had 2 or 3 doctorates by now.
something, okay? But honestly, I am in school, going towards my bachelor's, and the reason why I've tried to stay in school or re-enroll is just to kind of show my kids that it doesn't matter what you go through or what you've been through in life. It doesn't mean that you have to stop what am I trying to say? Like, you don't have to stop those goals just because some things have taken place. Like, you could still finish everything that you started. And so it could be emotionally exhausting, and my kids have seen me blood, sweat, and tears, and I literally mean that, like, in the floor crying over things that were literally out of my control, but it's ultimately saying, you know what, God, I let it go, and I'm going to let you do what you got to do. And so for me, letting them see me be a professional student is ultimately saying, like, don't ever stop. Keep doing whatever your heart desires, because it's so important, you know, just in general, because a lot of single parents give up so easy, and it's so easy to give up because, like I said, you're exhausted mentally, physically, emotionally. But when you see, you know, your kid's face, it's a reminder of why you do the things you do.
Oh, that's beautiful. Oh my gosh, it's absolutely beautiful.
Wow. Lovely. That's wonderful.
I think
right here.
What?
Right here, she's so
beautiful. Beautiful. Yeah.
I think you asked something else, but I honestly don't.
No, you answered both of them. No, you answered both of them. You did good. That was good. That was good. Yeah.
So I'm working on a couple of things. And like I said, when I was talking about God cleaning my slate, you know, blank canvas and restart, now I'm doing all the things that my heart desire. I'm doing them for me. It has nothing to do with anybody else. It has nothing to do with what anybody else saw, thought. It's definitely between what God has always told me and what I've always wanted to do. So I am back in school. I was always intimidated by college. I don't know why, because I did well, and I've always done well in school. I just didn't I can't stop. I just did not like school. I was just over it. And so, but and I remember there was a couple of people who spoke in my life who told me when I never even told anybody that I wanted to be a therapist, or, you know, I wanted to be I had a couple of friends. I mean, one of my friends, she used to just always tell me, like, you should be a therapist. You're always, you know. And I would tell her, well, you know, when I become a therapist, I'm no longer giving you this advice for free. I'm no longer sitting on my couch for free.
Right.
And then someone, a pastor, was just having a regular conversation with me over the phone. And honestly, the day before, I was thinking about, you know, how to get into counseling, becoming a therapist. And then she was just talking to me, catching up. And she was like, oh my God, you know, God just told me, like, that you go do something with therapy. There's something like that. And I was just like, oh, wow. And I was thinking in my head, but I have to go back to school to do that. And cool. And so I'm excited now. I'm excited that I'm in school. I'm excited that I'm getting this degree. I'm excited to become a therapist. And then my love child, my baby that I have been working on years. is my book.
Yes.
I'm writing a novel,
Love it.
and it is it's fantasy, it's fiction. And when I say fantasy, let me tell y'all, let me clear up the the genres in books for people, because they always mix up fantasy for erotica. I'm not writing. Every time I say fantasy, their eyebrows go up like, so you
Like, really?
yeah.
Okay. All
No,
right.
that's erotica, you
Make
guys.
sure I get that a copy of that.
Right. Let me tell y'all what fantasy is. Fantasy is kind of borderline like sci-fi. It's like the Marvels, the superheroes type stuff. That's what fantasy is. But mine is, as you guys see Marvel or you see the superhero videos, like they never say where their source or where their power comes from. So mine is, telling you where that comes from, because I absolutely believe, that we do have supernatural powers. We do have, we can do the supernatural. And so my book, I'm just so happy for this book to come out. I just know it's going to be amazing. And I just see it going, just, to movies and just having a series of it. And just, so those are the two things I'm working on. And how with the girls seeing me do that, I always tell them, which this is controversial to some parents, that school, if after high school, if they do not want to go to college, then they have to come with a plan of what they're going to do. And if that plan is within God's will, what it is, because there's a lot of things, especially now in 2019 and when they graduate, where a university, a 4-year college, in every profession, you don't need to go to a 4-year college. There's, there's technical schools, there's, JUCOs, there's certificates, license. There's a whole bunch of things. There's business, where you could take courses here or there, but whatever that they do, start and finish it. And I also tell them, because I have done this a lot, where just trial and error or whatever. Like if you think you want to do something and then you don't do it, okay, why are you not doing it? Is it just because of laziness? Is it just you're just giving up? Or is this not what you want to do? Or are you just doing something and it's not, you haven't consulted God? So it's always consult God, and just continue to do. If you mess up, just pick it up and try again, try new things, and it's okay. And just but you have to have a plan. That's and good. It has to take you somewhere, and it has to be aligned with the will of God, because the reason why it has to be aligned with the will of God, because we all have a purpose, and God has a purpose for us to help his people. Yes. We're not in our will, if we're not in alignment, then those people that's waiting for us is not getting what they're supposed to get. We're not being the answers. That's so good. We're not being the answer to somebody else's prayer, because God works through people. That's really good. And that's an important point. Not everyone is called to go to a university. You don't have to go to, to school. You don't have to go to college if that's not what, where God is leading you. Steve Jobs, what did he go? He went to, I think, university for a year or so, dropped out, billionaire. Right. He followed his path and it worked. There's a lot of billionaires out there that didn't go to college. They did things out of the ordinary way, or they did things untraditional way, and it worked. So at the end of the day, you just have to make sure you're following what God is telling you to do. Right. That's so dope. Follow what God tells you to do, and you're going to make it, because you're following purpose. That is powerful, you guys. So powerful, ladies. And Nisi, I want to share with you, when you were talking, what stood out was the finish what you start. Yes. Honey, you could start a finish what you start campaign or whatever it is. God can I really see him being able to take you and to push you with that. Finish what you start. You're encouraging people. And either single mothers, you can encourage whoever it is to let them know that just because it's happened in your life does not mean that you have to stop there. No, you can keep going, build. Keep going, because God has literally made you to prosper. He made you to prosper. And I was talking to, it was so dope. You guys will hear more about this, but I'll share this. I was talking to another person that I was doing a podcast with, and
he said something so profound, and I was like, gosh, I never looked at it that way. He said that in life, he doesn't look at life as having like failures, that you fail. He says because in life, as long as you play your role, you're going to get to where you need to be. Meaning, God has wrote a script, and if we keep allowing God to lead our footsteps, to guide us to where we're supposed to be, of course, we're going to hit valleys. We're going to hit, some mountaintops. We're going to have some ups and some downs. But God's not surprised by that, because he knew that was part of the plan. He knew that that was part of what you were going to experience in your life. And if you keep that mindset, like, this isn't a failure, this is just something that I'm going through. And guess what? At the end of the day, everything's working out together for my good, because I'm playing my role. I'm playing my part. And as God continues to pull me up, and I feel in my spirit, wake up, go back to school. That's God prompting you. Oh, okay, wake up, do this. That's God prompting you, because you're playing your part. It's a part of the script, and you're going to make it. So I had never looked at it that way. I said, what? Wow. You don't look at life as having failures. You just look at life as like it's part of the plan. This is part of the plan. I'm playing my role, and it's gonna work out. Right. And so, isn't that powerful? I was like, I said, listen here, you're going to have to come back, and you're going to have to just change everything in regards to this. But you guys, I'm telling you, this conversation has been amazing. I want to now jump into dating. Let's talk about dating, you guys. We rarely, this is something that kind of puzzled me. We rarely hear about a lot of healthy conversations when it comes to single mothers and dating. You just hear about dating, and you two are very positive women, and I want to hear from both of you when it comes to dating. And it's okay, we don't have the answer to everything, because we know the one who does know everything. We can connect to him, he can show us the ropes and stuff. But let's just flow with this. So both of you ladies, what are your thoughts about dating? And do you both desire to be married?
Okay. Yes. Why, yes. Yes, I do desire to be married. And I just think, so back to God, as long as you're following your purpose, then you're going to be on path to your purpose partner. So I do, believe in love. I believe in, being available and being whole for the one that God has for you. And just dating with kids. Let me see okay. So I have dated someone, Rihanna was a baby, when I was dating someone else, when I wasn't dating her father, when her father left. So I did date someone with a kid, and he didn't have kids, any kids. So with that, actually that was easy, because he was my friend before anything. So he was good. He was good to Rihanna, and we just didn't work out. And then after we broke up, I got back with Rihanna's dad, and then we had my little Yanni J. So then when I've dated with kids, the other people that I have dated while being a single mom, they had kids as well. Okay. And they were active fathers. So they understood, when there's schedules, when you can't find babysitting, and then they understood about the children meeting. So my children have not met. They have met one person that I've dated. That we was dating for like 3 years. Okay. And they met him in the 3rd year. So and the only reason why they met him in the 3rd year, because like I said, this is what I always say. Like, there's no, with breakups, to me, there's no surprises to me, because there have been plenty of red flags that I ignored. And so I knew ultimately that this was not going to be, I was just doing, I was just, I was just hoping and praying. And as a single parent, you do get lonely. I mean, as a single person, period, I'm sure that you get lonely, and then you have a person and they're good to you, but it's like, are they in the will of your purpose? Are they going to complement your purpose, or are they going to just, try to hold you back, or or just not understand what you have with God? So that's why that didn't work out. And then I apologized to that person, actually, and I let them know that I did know that this was not in the will of God, and I apologize to you for that. Anyways, that has nothing to do. I don't know why I went into that.
I love it, because remember, you say you love the accountability part of it.
Yeah. So it didn't work out on somebody outside looking in. They would say it didn't work out on his part. Yeah. But it was both of us, because I knew, you know what I mean? So that's why the girls met him. That's why I said that, because that's why the girls met him at a later stage, because in the beginning I knew, like, there's no point in meeting him. But it was kind of like a hangout deal with his child and them. So dating with kids hasn't been that hard with me, because I'm not dating right now. Because I'm getting self-whole, and and so at the end of this journey that I'm working on and loving myself, because once you love yourself, you ain't gonna accept no wooden nickels.
Come on now.
So on this journey, I know at the end of it that I'm going to run into my purpose partner.
Yeah.
And and I had others who have told me they had dreams. And then after the one powerful person had told me this, somebody else, my aunt actually ended up walking out of her room and telling me the exact same thing. Like right after I got this text for somebody. And those who know my auntie Vaughn, she hears from God, and she say exactly what God says in the moment, right then and there. So so it was just confirmation, but it was like, but you need to do what you have to do in order for this. Of course, this is what's promised to you. I promise it to you, but you have to do what you have to do. So right now I'm not dating, but when I was dating, it wasn't that hard, because I dated people with kids.
Okay, good stuff, good jewels. What about you, Niecy? What are your thoughts about dating, and do you desire to be married? And how does dating look with kids?
Yeah, I mean, I agree with everything Rita said, and date is coming. But like for myself, I don't think I've devoted a lot of time to dating, because I think I get so caught up in work and school and kids and life and what have you. But I definitely desire to be married, because marriage is such a gift from God, and it's such a beautiful commitment. So it's definitely something I desire one day, and I just want my kids to know that there is real love out there. You know, that just because they've seen me single for so long, because I don't know if I brought anyone around them. Maybe one person, and that was when I just had, Anaya, and that was so long ago. And that person was, he had kids, but he was not an active father in their life. So that was really hard, because we weren't able to meet in the middle, or, he wasn't considerate of my time and what I needed to do and why I couldn't jump and do things. So that's a whole nother story. But but I do, like Rita said, like during my singleness, and since I haven't been able to devote that much time to dating, it's been empowering, because you learn so much about yourself. And you get lonely, even like just like she said, a single person in general, like you get lonely, but that's natural. But it's empowering being single. Like, I get to get up and do what I want. I don't have nobody, right here, right now. But
yeah. No,
I
that's
definitely
yeah.
desire to be married, just to have that commitment. And honestly, I leave it in God's hands, because at the end of the day, He's the one who, decides who we're gonna be with.
Right. That's really good. You guys said some very powerful things. I totally agree with that. Why get anxious over something if God already told you that it was going to happen?
Mm-hmm.
You see what I'm saying? Sometimes we bring the future into our presence and we get anxious and we don't know how to calm down.
Right.
Yeah.
And when it's good to have the desire, because God has given us the desire, but God had showed me a long time ago, He said, anything that you want more than me is an idol. That put me to my knees. And I said, my God. So that was anything, just not just a marriage, but anything that you think about more than me, that you desire more than me,
wow,
idol.
Wow.
I said, oh my God. And it really made me change my perspective. Not saying that there are moments where I think about marriage, a lot and stuff like that. But I know that, I know that everything is working the way that God wants it to. And I know the components of being whole and fulfilling purpose go hands in hand with a purpose partner. Like you were saying, Rita, it goes hand in hand. We have to literally know what our purpose is in order to really open up to the right people. If your purpose is this, and somebody you're opening up to is on a total different wave path, different journey. They're talking about moving to Africa and you talking about something else, and they're going to be gone for 3 years. Let's be realistic. You have to really be realistic within your dating selections.
Yeah.
And because God has given us free will. He's given us honestly free will to talk to and date different people and whatnot. And so we have to keep that in mind, like partner with somebody that is a purpose partner that can help. They don't have to necessarily be doing the same thing that you're doing, but somebody that can encourage you, somebody that can uplift you, somebody that really sees the God in you, see what God has placed in you and want to help pull some of that out. Somebody that is not in competition with you, that really wants to compliment you and, and pray for you and not on you. And I mentioned that a long time ago when we were doing the Singles Let's Deliberate. We're going to jump back into those as well, sidebar. But we were doing that is so important to make sure that you're talking to, a lion or the real deal and not a wolf. Make sure that they're not a wolf in sheep's clothing, because sometimes you can get tricked. But yeah, so you guys share some amazing things. And I know that everything's going to happen, Nisi, like you were saying, in God's perfect timing, and so I'm glad that you guys share that information with me in regards to that. And you guys pretty much answered a lot of the stuff that we already kind of had. But I will ask you this. So have you ever struggled with not believing that you can date or be married due to already having kids?
No, I don't think I struggled with thinking I was because of my kids. I know I struggle with not.
Go ahead and share.
I have never been with someone who was dated someone who was like in the church or in sold out with God. So I used to just think like, who I'm going to end up with. This was previous blank canvas. It's just, someone, who loves God, believe in God, but I didn't think that it was just going to be just because I was able to see a lot of men in the church and just be like,
No thanks, like, Jesus.
Yeah. and just know things, that maybe they didn't think I knew or didn't, you know? So it's like, what is the point of that when I can have somebody who's real about where they at and not, you know, and this is what I have, this is where I'm at, I believe, blah, blah, blah. So it, you know, it was somebody who was honest. That was like big for me. So I was just like, I don't know. But, you know, God definitely showed me that was just the few. You know how big and wide my earth is that I created, you know, that there, you know, that who I have for you is going to be all these great things that I said. So, but because having children, maybe in the beginning, now, no, because honestly, everyone has children. And a lot of people be like, you know, there's a lot of single mothers. If there's a lot of single mothers, then there should be a lot of single fathers. It should be the same amount.
Right. If it took the fathers to have the kids with the women.
Yeah. So I usually, like I said, the only one guy who didn't have, he has kids now, and that was, you know, before when I was, you know, when he didn't have kids, he has kids now. But usually a lot of people have children, so it's not really, and I don't, even just with the two, and they're older now. So
what are your thoughts, Nisi?
I mean, and my answer is like the complete opposite. I mean, truthfully, yes, like I did. I don't think it was necessarily because of the kids, but I'm just like, who's gonna want someone with two babies and no one else there to help? I mean, clearly you don't want to be with someone anyways, but for me, like I had to get that fear out of my head because at the end of the day, it was like if a man truly loves you and wants to be with you, they're gonna love you and your kids regardless. So,
it's a package.
But yeah, like it was definitely something like, hey, I guess don't nobody want me, but that was just that fear again, like, you know, so I had to let go of that because it's like Rita said, clearly there's single dads just as much as there's single moms. So,
and then a thing
the daddy is, no, I'm just kidding.
I'll say a thing that us single mothers have a fear of when we have girls is bringing a guy.
That is so true.
You know, that's a fear. That was a fear, but God definitely, you know, reiterated to me, like, if you're on your purpose, like, I'm not going to have somebody for, you know, if you in my will, then you're in my will and you get all the benefits of it. But before that, you know, I was scared to be married because I literally, like, it would torment my mind that what if they do something to my, you know, my babies and I'm kill somebody, then my kids are going to be tormented for life, you know, like that was a real fear, you know, like I said, that just recently went away. That was a real torment for me of just like, you guys can imagine the crazy things that would go in my head that I was like, maybe I'll just stay single so, you know, they won't have to experience that.
That is so true. And honestly, like, I still think some of those things, but I think because of the world we live in and the things we see that's happening, like, as a parent, and as a mother with girls, that's always kind of in the back of your head, like, because you just don't know, but I mean, Jesus,
rebuke that. You rebuke that perverted spirit. We rebuke that, but that's the real deal. Like mentioning, you know, having comments or subjects like that is something that people need to consider. You can't go into situations blind or ignorant and saying, oh, I could just trust my babies with anybody. Because unfortunately, there are some nasty men out there that, you know, unfortunately, whatever happened to them within their lifetimes may try to, you know, inflict that abuse upon little girls. But we pray and we believe that is not you guys' portion. That's definitely not my portion when I decide to have children either. But that goes back to the whole point of being somebody's friend first, getting to know them, hanging around them, seeing who they hang around. And that brings me to I'm going to bring out my book about Singles Let's Deliberate. So I came out with this book earlier this year. God had been talking to me in 2018 for a few months. Like he had been talking to me about doing a book on for singles, and to come out with it. And it's not a book on how to get a man, you know, it's not a book on that, but it's a book on how to deal with those inner issues, or how to deal with self first, accept the wholeness that God gives you, so that you can present something complete to somebody else, to another complete person. And so I mentioned this because we do, even when we do talk about, you know, dating, you know, of course, dating guys, we talk about dating guys. There's things we need to look at that we may not even consider off front. You know what I mean? You want to date somebody that has something to bring, like we talk about. You want to make sure that when you're dating somebody, they know how to pray for you. If you're going through something, that they just don't leave you high and dry. They looking at you and you looking at them, and how are we gonna get out of it? I don't know. No, you need to, you know, like the practical things. Somebody, if credit is bad, you know, if there's something, if you know, you deal with your credit, but to link up with somebody with bad credit as well, things got to be worked on both ends. What I'm saying is there's things outside of our norm that a lot of people do when it comes to dating. You just look at, oh, he is fine, he is 6 feet, he is built, oh my gosh, but then the person has issues, you know, and they end up or attempt to try to mess with somebody. You see what I'm saying? So it's like we have to see beyond what we want to see and see what we need to see. I think a lot of people need to do that. And speaking, you know, for myself as well, of course, I mean, I date, of course, I date, but we're not going to get into that. But what I'm saying is, you have to really, like, it, even with dating, and even I talk about this within Singles Let's Deliberate, we have to even get outside of that list. And we're gonna I'm gonna come back on and have us all come back on, and even have a bigger group. And we're gonna talk about, really go and delve into this and talk about the realness, the authenticity of dating. We're gonna have to talk about this stuff, because I do believe as we are partnering, you know, some have already partnered, as we are partnering more with our purpose, God is sending or has sent purpose partners. But in order to keep what God sends, we have to make sure that we're maintaining what's on the inside. We're doing what we're supposed to on the inside of us, and that we know how to pick. We know how to discern. That ain't it. You know what I mean? So I just, I think that's really good. So, and I'm sure there's a lot of people, Rita, that a lot of single mothers that had those same fears. You know, and especially if they were that little girl before, and they, you know, they have a kid now, they're single, and they're like, I cannot date anyone because of this. You know, but I just, you know, commend you for bringing up that, because people need to know you cannot allow fear to lead your life. If you allow fear to lead your life, you're going to always have a limited life. Fear is tormenting, debilitating. It does not want you to move past anything because of his deceptions and lies. And so, you know, I commend you ladies for breaking barriers, breaking generational curses. You guys are doing this, even if you don't see, like, I'm breaking generation. You guys are doing this because you're on here, you're still standing, you're going to school, you have your head on straight, working, doing everything that you need to do, however that looks. You guys are being great examples for your children. And I want to commend you guys, because some people, you know, struggle and then they give up and they're like, I'm done. And so, really want to just commend you guys for keep going, for keeping it up and not giving up. And so I'm going to ask you both this last question, and then we're going to wrap this thing up. And if you guys have anything else that you want to share, definitely, if y'all want to share more on this dating part, we can. I don't know how deep y'all want to get into this thing, but we can go real deep if y'all want to right now. But the last question that I would share, I mean, that I want to ask you ladies is, what advice would you give other single mothers who would like to date, or even single fathers? You know, it's kind of the same up in the air. What would you tell, like, if somebody said, well, I'm just getting in the dating world or whatever, and you know, I have kids, but I really don't know where to start, what would you tell them? Like, what are 1 to 2, maybe 3 things that each of you would tell them?
I would say start on your knees.
Right.
Prayer.
Right. She means on your knees in prayer.
In prayer, y'all. So this is the post marriage. You ain't married. If you're starting dating, you're on your knees because of prayer. and don't ignore red flags. You don't have time. As a single parent, you honestly don't have time for your time to be wasted. You don't have a little extra, extra time here and there for your time to be wasted. Yeah. So prayer, red flags. Make sure that most of all, with prayer, obviously that's very important, but you love yourself. So you don't accept anything. And so you don't try to be whatever the person is. Sorry, do y'all hear that?
No.
Okay. So you don't try to because if you don't love yourself or know yourself, you'll find yourself turning into who you with just because you don't have your own identity. And then you don't have your own identity and your kids looking at you like, who are you?
Right.
And so prayer, loving yourself, red flags, pay attention. You don't have time to be wasted, and love yourself.
That's good. Powerful, you guys.
Yeah.
What about you, Miss Niecy, Queen Niecy?
I would just have to say, like, it's not going to be easy. You definitely have to take your time and like Rita said, time praying, because you should never feel pressured. Never feel pressured to date. Take that time to love yourself. Don't rush into anything. Don't settle just to say you got a bae.
Come on now.
And just always love yourself and put God first. I mean, Jesus.
It's okay. This is a single mother couch talk. We're going to hear some mommies in this.
Always love yourself. Be content with where you are, where God has you. Because, I mean, like I said earlier, this being single it could be very empowering. And I just think that, God is definitely preparing a single parent for those relationships that we desire.
Yes. I love it, you guys. This has been empowering. It has been enlightening. It has been amazing. I'm so appreciative of both of you all's time. I understand that y'all have little ones and a preteen too to take care of, and kids are, back in school and all this stuff. So I will definitely give you guys back your time, but this has really, really been good. I just want to let both of you know that you are amazing women. You're not overlooked, not forgotten. God has some great, amazing things for you both. Yes, continually allow God to use you, to speak to you within that intimate time with him, and allow him to even show you guys further who you are in him on the greater level. As you continually go after your purpose, yes, God is going to, he already has a purpose partner for everyone, but God is going to allow you guys to meet, to come into contact with that purpose partner. If you guys haven't even already met the perfect person, if you have, he'll reconfirm who that person is. So I just want you guys to stay encouraged, keep being a light, keep being boss ladies. Listen, start, if it's businesses, whatever it is that God's placed on your heart, there's no excuse. There's no excuse. And when God gives you the green light, that's the only light, honestly, that you need to proceed. So you guys, just, keep a smile on your face. Everything is working out, and we are going to have a part 2, like I said, because there's plenty more that we need to talk about. Is there anything else that you guys want to share?
I just want to say thank you for having us and, you know,
Absolutely.
opening a door for us being single moms and finding the importance in it. Definitely appreciate that. And everyone get singles, let's deliberate.
Oh, thank
And
you.
so we can deliberate.
Yeah, right. Right, so we can deliberate. All right, yeah, because we're gonna
Yes.
reconvene.
Thank you, both of you. Thank you, Rita, for dropping some gems, and just Erica for giving us, you know, this opportunity, this platform to really share and be vulnerable. Because it's not always easy, and so I
No.
appreciate you.
Yeah.
And yeah, go grab Singles, Let's Deliberate.
Absolutely, you guys.
And then
Thank
when
you.
Rita drops that fantasy book, her novel,
Yes.
be ready.
Yes. We are
We're
expecting
ready.
that. We are expecting these books and movies and everything. And even yeah, get ready for speaking engagements as well. You can't run from it. Yes, definitely.
That's for Rita,
definitely.
right?
Look, both of you.
You too.
Right.
Get prepared for the new thing that God wants to do for you guys. I'll release that to you. And this is your time, your hour, your season. And I think that it was a perfect timing for you guys to be on, because God is saying there's something new that I have for both of you.
Yeah.
It comes with the new level of trusting in Him, getting out of your comfort zone. When you get out of your comfort zone, guess what? You're going to see a breakthrough. You're going to see that thing that God has said is yours. You're going to see the thing that you've been hoping and praying for, and it's actually going to go beyond your expectation. So go forth, women of God, as the leaders, the queens that God has called you guys to be, because this is your time for a great release. All right, you guys. So
receive.
yes, stay encouraged, and you guys also get the shirt. Queens get king, and there's going to be greater those. Yeah, God, Jesus, He's blessed me with them. Praise God, hallelujah. But queens get kings, and we're going to have more conversations about that as well, because that's about worth. So we're going to be talking about that. But you guys, thank you all for tuning in. And I also feel led to do this. I literally heard this 3 times. So I have to share before we get off. If anybody that's tuning in on here, if you guys want to be a blessing to either Shaunice or Cherita, I'm going to put their information when I post this video. Put their information on there. You guys reach out to them if you feel God is leading you to send them something through Cash App, support to help Rita edit her book, publish her book, whatever it is, help Nisi with her schooling, help her with the mentorship program, help her come forth with the businesses and the ideas and stuff that God had for her. You guys, if you hear the voice of these 2 powerful women and you feel prompted, if the Holy Spirit is prompting you, if you like, I don't even know how I feel with the Holy Spirit to be prompted. If you don't know what that means, if you feel an unction or a pull from the inside of you, or something in your heart that's saying, I got to connect with them, I want to help them, do it. Because trust and believe, when you be obedient to that feeling, to that call, there's going to be a greater blessing from the release that you gave them. So you guys go ahead, connect with them, see what it is that they need, help them, and you never know. They may actually be listening. All right, you guys, let me get off of here, because we will be on here for a long time. Up, but like I always like to end videos, right? I always like to end these videos.
I'm just kidding.
And remember to renew your mind. It is the GOAT mind. Love you guys.
Bye.
Bye.